Oh, hey. Hey, everybody. Am I on here? Oh, it took me long enough to get set up tonight. I got the moon. I got the moon behind me, see? How about that? It's almost full. It's going to be on Tuesday the 8th. It's going to be the full Taurus moon. It's going to be something. It should be someday. Oh, by the way, Leslie Plazz, also known as Zazoo Plazz, reporting my week, I don't know what it is, my weekly Sunday report. And, just before I went live, something creaked back there in the woods. I'm actually leaning against the light post in the parking lot at the school. And then the woods is back there. It's totally dark. It's like 5:30 and I don't know what it is now. It's probably about 6. We turned the clocks back. Yeah, back. And something hooted back there. I think it's an owl. I hope it's an owl. But there's crickets and look at me. I'm in short sleeves the first week of November. This is crazy. Here we are in Connecticut. I'm like wearing short sleeves and I got my like a good outdoors woman. I got my hiking boots. See, I got my little jacket just in case, because you never know what the heck it's gonna do. I got my lantern. I got my losing Powerball ticket, and I got a story. I think next time, okay, so this is don't get any ideas, because I think I took about an hour last night, which is way too long, plotting my perfect lottery numbers. It has to get pretty high for me to play the lottery, the Powerball. It got up to 1.6 billion last night. I said, okay, got my $3. I'm driving around at 9:30 at night looking for a place that's open to, buy my Powerball ticket. First, I dropped off my ballot at the ballot box at the town hall. And then, so I planned this whole trip because I only go out, I plan my trips so I can strategically expend as little energy as possible. That's my secret. I said, so I had all these numbers, I got my secret, my special Scorpio numbers for my lucky numbers for the year and everything, because my birthday was last Wednesday. And I'm analyzing it, and then I said, you know what? I'm just going to leave it up to chance, because once I got out there, it's like, I don't want to write all those numbers down. I went to the grocery store. They closed at 8, and there's all these people looking, where can I buy Powerball tickets? So I finally ended up, I said, the next place I'm going to swing into, get a quick pick, and be on my way in 5 minutes. So I did that. I found this gas station right on the corner and across from the Olive Garden, and it says, it's all good on the outside of the building. I said, that's it, that's my place. So I went, I got a quick pick, and I didn't even get one number right. It was a colossal fail. And those, even the numbers that I was gonna play, wait a minute, 20. Oh, those are the results, that's the winning number. No, I had 16. 4 to 3, no, I didn't even get one, no. Anyway, so I thought, oh man, well this is it's perfect. So I said, I'm going to weave it into my report today. My losing lottery ticket, and what went through my mind, because I'm so optimistic, I'm already planning what I'm going to do when I win, and I'm going to have to give this person this, I'm going to have to give this one that, and then what can I do with the rest? It's like, if I was going to apply for a job, I would already assume that I had it. But in the old days, I actually used to go through the motions of applying for the thing that I wasn't supposed to get, that my soul didn't want, that would end up failing. So I said, it's no wonder that I didn't win, because all the little avenues that I went down in my success route didn't really lead me anywhere. Like, it's going to cost so much work if I win, and I'm only going to get 750 million, and that's not enough. I said to my husband, he just looks at me. Like the dog looks at me, When I don't understand, and I pretend I don't understand what she wants when she comes down and she flips her bowl and looks at me and it's, dinner time. He looks at me, and then I realize what I was saying. I mean, sometimes I can get so far ahead of myself, with all my pie in the sky dreams. That's Jupiter, I get carried away, and then I come crashing down to earth, and then I got a story. So I said, oh man, so at least you have to measure yourself according to how you used to epically fail at things and get your hopes up so now I just do it in my head. I go through, I said, oh, okay, I'm applying for the job, and then this would happen, and then that would happen, and then I end up, and then this would happen, and I'd be back where I started. So, I don't even have to go through it anymore. I know what's going to happen. See, this is great. This is what's great about turning 57. You get so smart all of a sudden. I've only been 57 for 4 days, so I don't really know. But I'm thinking, so then today, yeah, so this is the way things happen to me. I said, oh, I picked an old photo out of my junk box of photos in my room that I still have to scan, that I haven't really had a chance. So it's this kid I went to school with. I'm like, oh, and I thought his name was Mike. It started with a C. The last name was something like Carino or something like that. And then I found out, no, his name was actually Scott, but his brother's name was actually Mike. That's the one that came into my head. And then I find out that his brother, passed away a month ago, and I get these weird things that happen to me. I'm like, this is terrible, this poor guy. And I said, oh, well, the guy who's my age is, working for the insurance company and living 5 miles down the road from me, and I didn't even know it. But he's married to some woman who had the same name as so the guy who lost his brother, who was the guy who's in my class, his name, his wife's name is the same as my pen pal I had when I was 10 up until, that I still have. I'm like, oh, it's her birthday. So I write about her in the book. I call her Erica something. Well, there's my neighbor with his dog, his white golden doodle something. So yeah, and then I realized it's her birthday today. My pen pal, her birthday. Hi. MH, her initials. Always looking at me. I'm doing my report. Yeah. Anyway. Like, oh yeah. So that's how those things happen in Zazoo land. See, this is how I have a very strange, it's like a funnel system, or like those marbles. That when you were a kid, you could put, or you go to the science museum or something, and you put a marble in the top, and it goes all the way down, and then it bloop, plops into something. That's kind of how it works with me. But anyway, so I realized, oh my goodness, it's my pen pal's birthday. She's 4 days younger than me. And her birthday was always around the time of, voting and elections, and well, all of us born in the first part of November. And yeah, so I always think of those friends from growing up who were born in the first, say, 7 days of November, because we share that special feeling, that that election day mystery, and that feeling. It's sort of well, it all ties in with my song for today. 7, so 7 being a big number in the Bible. So tomorrow is 11/7. All right, those are very special numbers. I'm a 7 life path number, and I was born in the 11th month. So 11 is like, from heaven, and 7 is as above, so below. There's a lot of 7s in the Bible. You could go through and count up all the 7s. 70 times 7, you got to forgive, and the 7 brothers and the brides, and the 7, whatever, keeps going. So today's, as usual, I check my scriptures, and there's 7s in the Bible today. Oh my. So it all ties together, and the Eurythmics. It's just, Annie Lennox is so awesome. She's my favorite. She had like the sugar skull, cool sugar skull shirt, black, with black leather, like fake snakeskin, at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremony last night. I caught some videos. Of course I wasn't there. Someday I'm going to go there. I'm going to go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But it was awesome. And they played like a little sampling of all their hits. And I said, what's good for today? So I read the scriptures. I said, they have so many good songs. And I was thinking Sweet Dreams because, my Neptune's in Scorpio. It's getting hit right now. My Sun and my Neptune are right on top of each other in Scorpio in my second house, which is the house of possessions, the house of money, right? So I'm getting hit. I'm getting hit all over the place. So I thought, this is perfect. This is perfect. The Eurythmics. But it wasn't Sweet Dream because Neptune rules dreams, right? So I was thinking, man, my dreams are wild lately. So Sweet Dreams is my second. But what popped up was Missionary Man. So I started doing some research and say, wow, okay. So Missionary Man was their only song released in July, 7th month of '86. They won a Grammy in 1987. The only Eurythmics song to win. Best rock performance by a duo or vocal by a duo. So it was her and Dave Stewart, I think his name is, the guy in the Eurythmics. Man, I loved her in high school and into college. Oh my God, Annie Lennox. She cut all her hair off and dyed it red. She wore men's suits. That's quirky. That's cool. I love that. I love that look. Did I have the guts to do it when I was, 20? No, but I said, oh my gosh, her voice is incredible. She doesn't need all that other stuff. She's beautiful. She's gorgeous. She's still gorgeous. She's more gorgeous now than ever. And she's still got that great voice. But she's, she projects. She holds her head up high, Wow, I love that. So anyway, so I'm listening to all my Annie Lennox favorites and, on the treadmill and stuff this weekend and dancing. And I'm thinking, wow, that blows me away. So that song, Missionary Man, wow, it's got a little mad scientist vibe. If you look at the video, I'm going to post the link. It's like her, and she keeps going like this, and the other guy's messing with all the, in a chemistry lab with all the, things, and it's got a real Uranus vibe to it. The planet Uranus. It's like that mad scientist inventor kind of vibe. Futuristic though. They were always futuristic. But missionary. I mean, if you think about it, in the old days, when I hear missionary, I think about that creepy guy in Poltergeist 2. In 1986, I saw it. I was 20. That guy freaked me out. Come to find out, when they were filming Poltergeist, they used real skeletons. Did you know that? I just found that out today on the Google sphere. So, I mean, that guy wasn't messing around. All these creepy things happened when they were filming Poltergeist, like real stuff. You know, back in the 80s, they just threw the actors in the swimming pool with all the gross stuff. I mean, who knows what was in there? So they were supposed to be scared of the supernatural stuff, but they were really just creeped out by the physical stuff, right? That's what was scaring them. The real life, the stuff that they're having to deal with that's in the ground, that's dead, it's dying, right? So, in other words, we don't have to, that's why sweet dreams wouldn't work, because I'm thinking, this is a time we're realizing the cruel reality of the goop and the mess and the skeletons that are right in front of us, and we could just, you can smell it, right? They could just smell, something, doesn't smell right around here. I was looking this weekend at some old cards, letters my husband had sent me. When we were first married, he was traveling a lot. He went to this town in Washington State because he used to be with the Geological Survey. That they like get in boats and look under bridges and see what's under there, and use all this this ground penetrating radar to really get down there and see like what's going on with all their fancy equipment, and I thought that was cool. So he says to me, I'm in this town in Washington State and it smells bad. Turns out there's some factory there that makes rubber or something, and it's the whole town smells. So I said, that they actually have a ranking of the smelliest cities in the world. Hopefully you don't live in one. But anyway, that would be awful because I'm like, Samantha and Bewitched, or that girl, who, in that TV show Spirited, who like can smell ghosts with her nose. And she like, anyway, anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, Mars in retrograde in Gemini, blah, 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 blah. Okay, the missionary man, yes. So, talking about the mad scientist vibe, this is that time of year. There's all kinds of, I walk out in the woods just in the branches like this, and when it gets dark, it's, all the shadows come out, all the leaves are dead on the ground, all the, we got pine needles here, we got big dead leaves, let's see what else we got. Wet leaves, So, yeah, so that's pretty scary. So the readings in the scriptures, right, the gospel or whatever, when you used to go to church, the readings would get they would match what was going on outside in nature. That's why I would think, why can't we just do church outside sometimes, or open the windows. I know it's cold, you can't do that. But I used to, I'd look outside. If I was at church, I'd look out the window and I'd be listening to the sermon, but I'd be looking out and seeing everything, dead. I loved it. I loved it because you can see straight through to things. Here we can look right out at the school now. There's none of those leaves. You can see stuff. You can see the buses come. I used to be able to look out and see when my boys were coming home because I'd see the buses. Because our house backs up to an elementary school. So and even as a kid, I loved swooshing through the dead leaves, and I'd help my dad rake, and then I'd jump in the leaf pile, and I'd get all full of pine leaves and stuff, and it was fun. I always loved raking. Anything active, I loved doing that. So, there are seasons in life, right? So this is kind of, you can relate this season of life to, the cycle of life. And of course, in the church, in the scriptures, there's also a cycle. And when you get down to the end of the church year, everything's dying and everything's getting really spooky, and they're getting you ready. And then you have to get ready for Christmas, right? Advent comes. If any of you were Catholic, we had a season of preparing to welcome the light. But first, before you welcome the light, you got to get rid of all the skeletons in the swimming pool. So that's what the missionary man is about, right? He's not playing around, this missionary man. So, in other words, okay, so his job is to remind you that even though you may like your beach vacation and it's all fun and, drinking your, I'm going to go to wherever and have my Mai Tais and put my head in the sand. He's saying, no. Remember, see, there's more to it than that. See, so, seasons. He's reminding you that your focus shouldn't be on the stuff that's gonna end up beneath your feet and swimming in the swimming pool with the skeletons, right? Because that's not lasting. That's not the stuff that, like if you were playing a video game, you're playing Pac-Man or whatever, and boop, 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 and then the ghosts come, wah, 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 right? You wanna gobble up as much of the stuff that gives you the high points before the ghosts come and hit you, right? Because if you're going after the wrong stuff, if you're just running away from the ghosts and you're not picking up the little points along the way, right? You're gonna die, and then you're just gonna, what's the whole point of it, right? So the missionary man, whatever comes along and reminds you about the long game, what's really important. How are you spending your days, right? That creepy guy in Poltergeist, he died like in the middle of the movie. No, I mean, it's, okay. So I guess, yeah, we got all right, so yeah, in the Bible they're asking Jesus about these little things. Oh, it was, you married 7 times, and it's just, they're hung up on the old laws. They're hung up on the dead stuff, right? They're asking him questions about stuff it's like the trees that you're going to trample underneath your feet. They're looking at the beautiful trees, and they're saying, oh, should we go look at, this tree or that tree? Should we buy our house here? Should we buy a house there? Should we invest in this? And should we invest in that? And take our Powerball and go and, take a cruise, and we go, blah, 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 eat here and eat there, and buy this big vehicle that we don't need, and, well, you get what I mean. They're asking Jesus, like, they're asking him, he's the wrong person to ask those questions. He doesn't care. He's the missionary. He's got the saints and the apostles and everybody on his side. But he only has so much time. I don't have time to sit there and think about Powerball. You know, it's money. It's energy, right? It's like anything else. It's like it's useful. It's useful like light. It's useful so you can see my face when I'm doing my videos. You know, is it useful? Yes, it's useful. Is money useful? Sure, it's useful, right? We need money to buy shirts, and I had to make my ingredients for my harvest turkey kielbasa, butternut squash, and kale soup that I'm gonna make tonight. Sure, but like, what's the return on your investment? You just ask yourself, whatever you're doing, right? I'm watching this show. Well, what is this going to do for me in the long term? Think like, a missionary man. He cares about your soul, right? Spend time on things that have the biggest return in the next life, right? Or in heaven, right? Whatever your idea of heaven. And heaven could be, next month. Whatever, heaven is a state of mind. So, do what lights you up, right? Naturally. If you spend time thinking and asking, in other words, doesn't it seem stupid? It's like if you met Jesus on the street and you asked Jesus, some trivial question that, does Jesus think that I should, should I go to this church or that church? Should I eat fish on Fridays during Lent or not? Or, it's like Jesus, he doesn't have time for that stuff anymore. He's got bigger fish to fry, you know what I mean? I would imagine that these questions are not, you shouldn't even be asking those questions. I mean, it's like things that are of another age, that, like they say on Facebook, what's something you used as a kid that today's kids wouldn't even know how to use, like a rotary dial phone, or a I don't know, a phone book, stuff we used as kids, cassette player. What do you do with the tape when it gets all tangled up in the, and you get your pencil and how much time, it's like that, right? It's like technology. If you have the best technology in the world, stuff that is beyond, it's stuff that hasn't even been thought of yet. And yet, you're still asking, how do I play my cassettes? Well, that's a technology of another time, you see? I don't even know if we have a cassette player anymore. We've got tons of cassettes. No cassette player. It's kind of like that. Are you spending your time on outdated questions for an age that no longer exists? Are you still wasting energy trying to figure out how do you play your cassettes? When there's been digital for how many years, right? And who knows what's next? What you have to be doing is you have to be thinking ahead, right? You have to be thinking of now and the next, and you have to be open to the next big idea. You can't do that when you've got your head in this, back in the old days, right? Flintstones time. You gotta, Don't mess with the missionary man. He's got a mission. He's focused. Are you focused? Are you really, really focused? Are you on a mission? You have to act these days. Find out what your mission is and go after it. It's like Annie Lennox. Okay. Oh, look what I found here in the woods. Somebody's got, look at Christmas paper. Ho, ho, ho. Oh, not yet. I'm not ready. Okay, so until next week, Zazoo Plazz, signing out. And, yeah, go out and, tackle your mission. Those are orders. Zazoo Plazz. See you next week. Bye-bye.